Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Trump Tyranny Tracker. A little later than normal, but here we are. Nevertheless, Olga Lautman is here, the creator and founder of the Trump Tyranny Tracker. Olga, how are you doing today?
Getting a migraine,
Oh,
annoyed
no.
with the news, but here.
It is beginning to feel like there's a lot of pressure out there. The reality of everything is beginning to set in as everyone's joining us. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Such a lot of people joining us at the start of the Tyranny Tracker today. It's day 163 of the Trump administration. There's so much going on, and we have a bit of an abbreviated show, so we can jump right into it. Um, the first story, really unbelievable. The Pentagon has halted delivery of air defense systems and precision munitions to Ukraine, citing low U.S. stockpiles. This decision, driven by Trump-appointed Pentagon policy chief Elbridge Colby, follows an internal review flagging dangerously low reserves of Patriot missiles, tank rounds, and artillery shells. The freeze affects previously pledged and congressionally approved aid, and the timing is devastating. Russia has just launched its most massive aerial assault of the war, firing over 5,300 drones and hundreds of missiles in this last month, or at least in the last couple of days, precisely when Ukraine needed these defensive systems the most. This is appalling. Yet another aid, another assist to Vladimir Putin against the Ukrainian people.
I mean, and I am so, and I think that's part of the reason I'm, getting a migraine. It is so appalling. It is so heartbreaking. And it is the worst feeling, so helpless that, every single night Russia is sending hundreds of drones and missiles per night. And here you have the United States who, used to be on the side of freedom, on the side of democracy, now actively assisting Russia. I mean, I would not be shocked, and I frankly am surprised that it hasn't come out yet. If Trump is sending weapons to Russia, because suddenly,
Surprise me.
um, since March, Russia has sent in more missiles and drones into Ukraine since all of last year. I mean, the minute Trump came in, they started escalating. He's done nothing but provide cover for them. Russia is strategically targeting buildings. People every single night are being buried in rubble. I mean, and this is exactly what Trump got impeached for. This is not new aid. This is the aid that Biden, approved, that Congress approved. Um, some of the equipment was in Poland waiting, for the release. And I mean, the whole excuse is bullshit,
Yeah, it is total
bullshit.
bullshit. I mean, this has been a pattern we've seen for a few months now. You'll recall that right after that Zelensky meeting, Trump pulled all the intelligence information from the Ukrainians, so they couldn't see what was coming, basically, as the Russians countered their counteroffensive that went all the way into Russian territory. So this has been going on over and over again. No matter what people say about Putin maybe abandoning Trump or the breaking up in a relationship, there's nothing like that going on. These two are attached at the hip, and what they're doing is right now is basically aiding the autocratic forces of Russia against the freedom-loving forces of Ukraine. It's as clear as anything, and it's going, whether it's through these fake excuses they're using for low stockpiles or whatever other excuses they're using. Every step of the way, you can see that Donald Trump is backing Vladimir Putin, and certainly he is in this war against Vladimir Zelensky and the Ukrainian people.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I mean, Trump is trying to force Ukraine into surrender. And can you imagine you have Ukraine literally fighting Russia, North Korea, China, Iran, and now the United States? Can you imagine? This is what Ukraine has to fight and deal with. Meanwhile, Iran launched missiles to Israel, and you had five countries scrambling to knock down a few missiles. Russia launches missiles into Ukraine, and you have United States who betrayed and abandoned it. And then you have the rest of Europe who just, looks at the missiles flying through their airspace and, oh, this is heading for Ukraine, so it's fine. We're okay. And let's continue on to kill people. I mean, this whole thing is so sickening. It's so hypocritical. And, and the problem is bigger than Trump. I mean, this
Mm.
is the Republican Party. I don't give a shit what Trump does. You have Republicans who, in both, House and Senate, pretended to be friends of Ukraine. This is some kind of friends here.
Well, I mean,
Where they're backing the end of aid, end of intelligence sharing, and frankly, Trump, assisting Russia in trying to capture all of Ukraine.
and this doesn't end with Ukraine. I mean, everybody knows
No.
that if Ukraine does surrender, even if Trump gets his wish and and Ukraine surrenders to Putin, Putin's going to move on to Poland. He's going to move on to Lithuania. He's going to move on to any of the other countries he's got on his list that he needs to reclaim the old Soviet Union borders. And he's been explicit about that. And why are we allowing a world war, basically, to develop? We are, as America, we should be providing Ukraine from just a national security point of view. We need Ukraine to win this war so the war does not expand to these other countries and does not envelop the world in a world war. Yet Donald Trump seems to be pushing the world into a world war. That's where he
Well,
intends to
and at
go.
the same time, again, Trump, we know this. I frankly am the least bit surprised or even have any emotion to
Mm,
what Trump is doing. It's the Republican Party, and it's frankly Europe, because
mm,
Europe, this is their borders. They also need to step up, because if Ukraine falls, like you said, I mean, every single intelligence and defense agency in Europe is sounding the alarm that Russia is preparing an attack on. A NATO country as soon as 2027. I
mm.
mean, we're a year and a half away from Russia, potentially sending missiles and drones into a European country. So, frankly, Europe also needs to wake the fuck up and start helping, because if Ukraine falls, this is going to be the biggest disaster for Europe. And the Republican Party, for any Ukrainian or any Eastern European who still supports this Republican Party, shame on you, because you're enabling this Republican Party who is helping Russia commit genocide. So,
Thank you so much for bringing the story to everyone's attention and for leading the Trump tyranny track with it today. It's an important story that otherwise was going to get buried. So people really need to pay attention to this. Call your Congress people. Insist that they take a look at why their approved help to the Ukrainian people is not getting to them, and whether there really is a stockpile shortage, because I bet you there isn't. And
it's
this is,
congressionally approved.
yeah,
This is already
it's
got
illegal for him to
titled.
stop it.
Exactly. This is what he got impeached for the
Yeah.
first time. And yet, no one, this isn't even a news story right
Yeah.
now.
Well, it's good that you're bringing it to everyone's attention, and everyone should please amplify it. The second story, the Trump administration is now considering revoking U.S. citizenship of New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani, a naturalized citizen and outspoken advocate for Palestinian rights. Trump called Mamdani a communist and threatened both arrest and deportation. This represents a dramatic escalation from threatening to deport naturalized citizens to actually pursuing opponents of the Trump regime and suggesting that they should be denaturalized. The move targets someone whose only crime is criticizing Trump policies and for advocating for human rights. And what he's saying basically is he doesn't want ICE to be attacking illegal immigrants in New York City.
Yeah, and look, I personally didn't vote in this New York city mayoral primary, because I can't stomach to vote not for Mamdani, not for Cuomo. So basically, this year I'm just not voting. I do not agree with any of his policies for the most part. I mean, he has a few good policies, but for the most part, his past rhetoric I don't agree with. His, some of his policies or whatever. But this goes to the bigger issue, the fact of threatening to strip naturalization from someone because they disagree with you. I mean, this, here we are again, where, the Department of Justice has shifted all their efforts now to start looking for naturalized citizens. So people like me who have been here my whole life, can easily, if they don't like what I'm saying and it's against, their America First policy, they'll find excuses to strip people of their citizenship. So I mean, this is appalling, and should be troubling, because the majority, not the majority, but there's a large percentage of this country who are naturalized citizens, or their parents are naturalized citizens. And if we allow it to go, today with Mamdani, and it continues, he did it yesterday, threatening Elon Musk. Again, frankly, I'm no fan of Elon Musk.
He's not going to
To
do anything
me,
with Elon Musk, though. I mean, the reality of it
this
is
is
that
for me. This
that's
is popcorn. It's
yeah,
very interesting to watch. I
no,
mean, this is a very Russia move, very Putin move,
yeah.
where an oligarch disagrees with you, and you strip their assets or threaten to.
But it's not going to happen. Elon Musk and Trump are in bed with Vladimir Putin, and they're not going anywhere else because that's where
Well,
they're
I'm not so sure because I can tell you that all the Russian chatter is backing a new party. They are absolutely gung ho for Musk to launch a new party. This is all the Telegram channels, and all the chatter is really like because look, Russia's policy is not to help Trump at all costs. Russia's policy is to put a nail into the coffin of the United States.
right. But
Trump right
right
now.
now, Trump is helping Putin in Ukraine and dropping sanctions against Russian banks. I mean, those are pretty good
Well, he
gives.
didn't drop sanctions. I saw this
Yeah.
thing. He didn't drop sanctions. This was the policy by Biden for a Hungarian nuclear plant. And the sanctions just got extended. This continues going on every 6 months. And another thing, I've been fighting with Congress and, over the past few years for all these cutouts that they've been providing. So.
Regardless, the attack on the U.S. On citizenship is appalling, and it's on it's if this is what they're going to use to frame any opponents or critics of the regime and start taking away their citizenship rights, we have reached a completely different level of autocracy in America, where the president's enemies, whoever they perceive to be enemies, can be basically removed out of the country, taking their rights taken away completely.
And just to add the last thing, I am frankly so sick of MAGA, running around with their throwing communist, labels. First of all, he's a socialist. Second of all, neither lived under socialism or communism, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I apologize for cursing. Third of all, if they want to look at communists, go look at Melania Trump's father, who was part of the Communist Party, and look at Ivana Trump's family, who were communists and working as informants for the communist security services of Czechoslovakia, the SED.
There's nothing
So
more
I mean,
communist than Trump right now, who's
you want to look at
nationalizing.
communists.
Look,
Two of three
yeah,
Trump's wives were communists. Belonged to their family, belonged to communist parties. So if they want to go there, go start over looking at their president and his family members.
yeah. This is a man who treats the economy like it's his personal bank account. Like it's exactly what communist parties do. The number 3 story: operatives infiltrate the SEC. So Trump's Department of Government Efficiency is now pressuring the SEC to roll back regulations on SPACs and private fund disclosures. Doge operatives embedded within the SEC are pushing to weaken Biden-era investor protections, raising alarm among SEC staff over unprecedented political interference in what has been traditionally an independent agency. This represents the systemic capture of financial regulatory infrastructure. But why are Doge officials even pressuring the SEC for anything like this? It's out of their scope.
Why did unauthorized Doge official have my social security and every American social security and health insurance information and every single thing that exists in the federal government? I mean, this is more corruptions, and it's just blatant corruption. They want to roll back all the rules so they can, frankly, do whatever they want, and they can weaponize it, and the White House can control oversight of these regulations in order to award their allies and to punish their critics. So you'll see, this being weaponized. Any corporation, who may say something against policy of Trump's, this will be weaponized against them, whereas others will get favor. We're seeing it with Paramount now, where they're allowing the merger to go through, and they have to basically pay an extortion fee of $16 million for something that is absolutely nonsense.
It's really interesting that they're talking specifically around SPAC regulations. And of course, the president's Truth Media company is formed on a SPAC. Many people say he's trying to get a lot of the assets out of that, and he can't because of the SPAC rules and the way the cryptos, organized inside that SPAC, that maybe this is about that. Maybe it's about him getting his money outside of SPAC, and that's the only way to do it, is to cut the teeth of the regulators,
Change the rules, and
change
that's
it,
it.
make it fit
Cut
your world.
over.
It's so typical.
Yep. Cut oversight, and that's it. And then he's good to go.
You mentioned 60 Minutes and the Paramount settlement for $16 million. Well, Trump officials are exploring whether CNN can be prosecuted for reporting on Ice Block. That's an iPhone app that alerts users to nearby immigration agents. So Homeland Security Secretary Kirsten Noem accused CNN of interfering with law enforcement and said she's working with the Justice Department to investigate. Trump endorsed the idea of prosecution, despite CNN asserting its reporting is protected and lawful. Another attack on the press freedom. And, as you said, after this Paramount settlement, it's just clearly that the mainstream media is being made to capitulate, and the little pushback they're getting is not going to be enough.
That's exactly it. I mean, Trump's dream is basically having a Russian-style information space where, everything is controlled from the White House through the propagandists, through state media, through, all the social media that fits his algorithm to push his propaganda narratives and disinformation. So, I mean, this is a continued attack on the press. And we're basically seeing this happening across, all categories, whether it's a continued attack on universities in order to try to, have them follow his ideological agenda, whether it's, trying to silence the press using FCC, who's investigating NPR and PBS and other outlets, stripping funds, shutting down Voice of America. I mean, this is just, they are doing everything to shut down the media. And then, we spoke a few weeks ago of how even the media who was covering the protest in LA, 36 cases. This is the United States, what used to be a normal country. 36 cases where journalists were shot at or beaten by the police in order not to be allowed to cover the protest. 36 cases. I mean, we're
Unbelievable.
really in Banana Republic, Russia, Serbia, Georgia territory where this is, sort of next will come kidnapping of opposition and jailing of opposition figures.
Or deporting them. I mean, what you've got there is for the 60 Minutes, this is a venerable news organization, an independent news magazine that has been independent for so long. Because of this settlement, they have lost their independence. They no longer are their own independent unit, which they were for so long. They have new oversight rules and new oversight of everything that they're doing. And now CBS and Paramount is going to be taken over by the Ellison family, basically, friends of Bibi Netanyahu, and also future potential owners of TikTok. So they're building another sort of massive media empire that is going to be involving a lot of disinformation and a lot of spying and other things that we've never really seen before in America. And they're turning the Great Tiffany network of CBS News into that operation, which is just, for someone who's worked there, absolutely appalling. It's this is just the worst thing you could do to an organization which has got such a storied history.
And just to add, all of these lawsuits and pressures from DOJ, from FCC, and every other agency they're weaponizing, this forces some journalists to self-censor because journalists, who don't make a lot of money, it's not that, this is a very lucrative job, then have to worry about, do I really want to publish this corruption story? Because then I'm going to have not only death threats and have the whole MAGA sphere, propaganda network turned against you, where you get doxxed and death threats against you and your family. But then at the same time, you have to deal with, the government and dealing with them digging through your records and whatnot. So, I mean, this is another problematic thing because you'll just have a lot of journalists, self-censor and
This happens all the
not
time in
bother.
newsrooms where people just select stories that are not going to cause too much trouble because you could get fired if you cover those stories. It's really sad. That is the Trump Tyranny Tracker for today. Everyone should subscribe to Olga's Trump Tyranny Tracker and Unmasking Russia for the most detailed account of everything this administration is doing day by day to strip away your democratic rights and introduce authoritarianism in America. It seems we're at that tipping point. It really feels like so much is happening right now that we sort of crossed over from being just in the planning and building stages into into an authoritarian state, and we're seeing it in real
Well,
time.
yeah, they're, they said they, like I said, they came prepared.
Mm.
The first time Trump saw where the shortfalls were, and who put them, who stopped him from abusing executive power. This time he came prepared, and he has a whole institute, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025. I mean, they came very prepared. They started executing the minute he got sworn back into office. So.
And
And
everyone,
also, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, just last thing, for our authoritarianism 101
Mhm.
seminars, I put out a new link just a little bit ago for next week, the registration link.
Yeah, everyone should register. Last night's session was really incredible. So much great input from everybody, and we love hearing from everybody. So and it connects you to other communities and connects you to other people who are fighting. So please, if you're a paid subscriber, register for our next session next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. And also at narrative.org right now, I just posted a piece about the New York Times financial disclosures about Donald Trump's real financial state and how beholden he is to crypto. It's a good read, and everyone should check it out right now at narrative.org. That is the Trump Tyranny Tracker for today. We shall see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Hope your migraine gets better, Olga, and feel better, and we'll
Huh.
see you tomorrow.
No. Bye,
Bye. Bye,
bye.
everybody.